Welcome back to That's Delivered. I'm your host, Truckin' Ray, and today we got another great show for you. A podcast is all about people who keep freight moving, their stories behind trucking industry, and today we're talking a little bit about trucking history, a truck that a lot of drivers will recognize from the most famous trucking movies that's ever been made. Today's guest is Patrick Bruno. Patrick is a truck driver, collector, enthusiast who is also a co-owner of a screen-used truck from the 1978 movie Convoy, a legendary Mack truck connected with Chris Christopherson's character, the Rubber Duck. Patrick actually reached out after seeing this episode, Rob Mariani, who has mentioned he had worked with us in the past and he wanted to share his story and talk about the truck and some of the plans he has moving forward. So, Patrick, welcome to the show. Yo, Patrick, what's happening over there? How you doing?
And how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you on the show and talk about what you're doing. I mean, you're doing great things, and man, you and Rob, you guys did a lot of great things too. Want to talk about
Really?
that?
As
Yeah.
history. Yeah, as in fact, I'm actually sitting behind my tributary, which I call the mini duck. And believe
Ooh.
it or not, I'm sitting at the site of our uh, every year we do a show called The Relax in the Park. And I'm parked right here right now at the park where we host the show. As a matter of fact, I thought I'd kind of bring some, fun to the show here.
Nice. Thank you. Appreciate you doing that, man.
Well,
Not easy out there trying to do all things necessary to put that truck out there and put the message out there for people. Let's start with your background. A little bit about what you mentioned to me from a family of truckers, mechanics, and operators. Tell us about that. What's it like growing up around trucking industry, and when you first realized that this industry was what you wanted to be a part of for yourself?
So basically, I was born in a fall of 2001. A year before that, my dad, which many know him by the name of Dan Bruno, he started his first dump truck company. Because he always wanted to find a way to make money in trucking, which that's impossible to do these days. But no, we so my grandfather he gave him the idea of getting into dump trucks, and about 3 months after I was born, he randomly took me with him one day, and I rode inside a dump truck. He had the first truck he ever had. It was a custom ordered Mack R-Model that came out of the McCountry plant in Allentown. And that first ride in that truck is what got me hooked on her for life and stuff. Some people they wait until like maybe they're like their preschool years or elementary school year and stuff, but literally just right after I was born was when I got hooked on it for life. And so yeah, as I've mentioned before, I come from a whole family of below cars around operating big machinery and stuff. When my forefathers first came here to St. Louis, one of my great great grandfathers, he was a logger and a tree man. And both my great grandfathers, one on my dad's side and one on my mom's side, they were both truckers. My mom's side, my grandfather, he drove for Yellow his whole career. One on my dad's side, I don't know much about him. And then two of my step grandfathers, and one of them he was a CDL instructor in his career, and the other one he drove for an oil company over in East St. Louis for his whole time. And my dad, as I mentioned, he's had two truck companies in the past, and so yeah, I'm about sixth to seventh generation on all sides of my family, give or take. And I've had family members who have been operating heavy machinery and farming. So just anything that's loud and noisy and it's got a diesel or a badass motor and stuff, you are talking my language. That's all I can tell you.
Wow, wow, man, I can imagine. That's amazing, man. Deep roots, man. That's extremely well grounded in the trucking industry. A lot of people grow up around trucks, but not everyone ends up making a career out of it, and also doing what you're doing, also being a part of the show business side of it. So, at what point did you make the shift from just doing a little something or growing up around it to personally you wanted to pursue it to make this a part of your life, maybe not just in trucking, but also with the Convoy movie and all of that.
So basically, I always figured out, I knew at some point in my life I wanted to be involved in trucks. And so growing up, I finished high school, and when I went to high school, I went to State Technical College of Missouri, which I took heavy equipment operations here. It was a 1 year trade program, and I graduated with my degree in heavy equipment operating, and which is also where I earned my Class A at. And as soon as I graduated, I started doing mechanic stuff for a couple buddies of mine up here in the St. Louis region who have had trucking companies and have same way as me and stuff, their families and dads. had businesses and they grew up around and stuff. And then about a couple years ago, I worked into a job which was based out of Carlington, which is in the Dallas region. They manufacture and build and sell all the Ford and Mopar parts for all the dealerships. And because I mentioned I do have good pickup trucks as much as I do with semi trucks, and so I always knew I wanted to find ways to merge into everything all at one. And when this job came up, it was kind of the perfect opportunity. So I go all across the St. Louis and the Martin region, 44, I-70, everywhere, just delivering, selling, and picking up stuff out of all the dealers. As a matter of fact, I just got off work about a half an hour ago. Monday, I average about a 12 to a 13-hour shift. It is a lot of work, like mini truck driving stuff, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to make the world turning. Without the blue collars, people don't even realize anymore. Like they don't care about truck drivers or blue collars like they did back in the '70s and stuff, and they don't realize that without the truck drivers and as with all the other blue collar stuff, that this country and this whole planet does not rotate and stuff. It's without the men out there actually getting everything to you and stuff, then you don't have a rotating earth.
Yeah, I mean, think about all those companies that are pushing the AI. They're going to need those data centers. They're also getting nuclear plants, so they could keep those AI systems going. But those flatbeds and those crane operators, heavy haulers, and all that. That's a part of that too. That's what keeps it going, and the maintenance too that goes on afterwards as well. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know.
and even with the self-driving trucks, I mean, people think that they can replace driving stuff. In fact, a coworker of mine once told me a very good thing. He always told me, and working in the trucking world, you can always replace, the body, the employee, but you'll never replace the knowledge and the skill that some of these professionals have.
Absolutely. I agree, man. And your family is deep, deep into it, man. The knowledge and all the background that you guys have, it's a legacy right there, man. So appreciate you guys' contribution, man. It means a lot. So one thing I noticed that stood out to me in your messages was you describe yourself not as just a truck driver, but also a collector or enthusiast. What is that like? Where did that interest come from? Where did you start looking at trucks and just, it's not just about work equipment, but it's pieces of art or history that's worth preserving.
So basically, my dad has always been kind of like my role model, kind of like my Superman, Batman icon stuff. Everybody likes the football players and the big celebrities and the billionaires and stuff. But for me, my dad was the one always there encouraging me. And most of my weekends we would spend around the shop and stuff, working on trucks, and I'd help him wash them. And then whenever I got old enough at some point and stuff, I started yard jockeying stuff for him around the yards and whatnot. And as I mentioned, so the two guys who I actually went to work for doing mechanic stuff. They actually let me, climb around, going climbing up and taking a look at all their big trucks and whatnot. And it really meant to watch these guys, and stuff because they know that there are not many kids out there who are like I am and stuff that's crazy into and stuff. And it just really made it, personal to them knowing that there's still, some of the generation out there today that's still in this stuff. Because like I said, I'm only just 24 myself and stuff. And people said I am a rare old school breed, but I tell people at the end of the day, I wouldn't change a damn thing about it.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, good choice, man. I don't want you to change anything either, man. I like where you're going with this. So, for anyone that's listening out there that you may know a trucking story or maybe an opportunity that came up, and how did it end up and connected that with the truck? I mean, you got the Convoy. You've been there for 24 years. You thinking about that? Unique trucking world. Being a co-owner of that, a screen used truck, for Convoy. How does that all come about?
So, well, mainly most of it starts with my dad and stuff. He gets most of the credit in that stuff because he's been a fan of with the movie his whole life. And one night because when he had a VH copy, he literally wore the tape out of. He's like the biggest. I mean, there's a lot of comic fans around the world from over foreign countries, weird people and stuff. But when it comes to U.S. comic fans, he's like the biggest. Like he's like the king of U.S. Convoy fans, is what I think of it. So, when they came out with the DVD copy in 2003 or something like that, he stayed up one night and he could watch like just notices and the differences in the fuel tank sizes, the air clearance mounts, and everything, and the HUD sizes and models, and knowing that there were different trucks in the movie. So, by 2005, we had purchased the dual truck, which Brad White also owns. Rob's partner and our good friend. We tried to get it back from Los Angeles. from an area called Burbank, where
Yeah.
where a guitar artist had purchased it from a guy who actually built trucks for the Universal Studios. His name was George Sack. And we went to go pick it up from Neil and George, and we drove it from California, Arizona and stuff. And actually, just coming down the mountain stuff, people would look at that truck and they would know what that truck is, and they'd be screaming on the CB, freaking the hell out, knowing that So then we get to Kingman, Arizona. We're taking 66 the whole way back up, and by Kingman, the engine starts to act up and starts dying and stuff because it was just in pretty rough shape. So it started to blow up on us, so we had to leave that at the Love truck stop in Kingman, and we drove on the way back. Left it there so we could figure out how we were going to get it back. And on the way back of 66, we stopped in Logan, New Mexico, which is about 10 to 15 miles north of Tucumcari off of 40. And there was a company at the time named Berlin Enterprises and Trucking, and they had provided trucks in the movie. The real most notable trucks you see is the K100 cab over pulling the hopper bottom trailer that you see the character Leather Tongue drive behind the rubber duck, and then there was a 352 Peterbilt, same color that you see that they're playing in the song on the way to
Yeah.
Steve's roadblock, and he stops in there, telling him who he is, and they knew he was going to be there someday, and they pulled all this documentations, and they had a whole quarry north of Logan, which was just near the Texas state line, and they saved everything because they knew he wanted to buy it. So we worked at the logistics, brought it back to St. Louis over 25 to 26, and then finally, yeah, 25 to 27, and early winter, early spring of 27, we finally got the truck back up and running, and right before the national show in 2008 in Hudson, Kansas, which is actually where we started working with Rob at one point. We had finally got the trailer done. So by that point, we're taking the truck to all these shows, and the word gets out of there that it's back out there. And well, we're getting contact and stuff, but we just couldn't keep taking time out of our personal or even our jobs to keep on meeting these people. So then north of me in St. Louis, there's a place called the Transportation Museum. My dad has a history of volunteering there, so he worked out an agreement where the rubber duck and the dual truck would sit there at the time when we had them both. And then 2009, he just, it was one of those times sometimes you get a lot of stuff more than you bargain for, and you just can't, really keep up with it and everything. So in fall of 2009, he sells the dual truck to Brad White, and then and we had the truck. And then in 2010, we actually came across a screen used the first unit Mack truck, the 712 77 model. The EMI had custom ordered specifically for the movie. We bought that in spring of 2010, right before we went out to Pleasanton, California for the national show out there, which is where we found it. And we had them 2013, sold the truck to the first unit one, the 77 model, we sold to Geo Brothers Trucking up in Quebec City. The 731, the second unit model, which is the one we have now, the surviving restored one. It's just one of those things. Me and my sister we were just growing up, and my dad just needed kind of a break from everything. So we sold the rubber duck truck to a buddy of ours, Anthony Fox, in 2015 in Rome, Georgia. And then he and Brad and Rob became partners, and as we're growing up and stuff, we kind of missing stuff, and he knew we wanted to get it back one day. So and at one point he started taking up drag racing and stuff, and he just wanted the fun start, I guess, building something else. So he just kind of got bored with it, same thing. So he contacted us in summer of 22 and said it was time. He thought we should get our hands in it. So that was about a 2-year process of starting to sell a bunch of stuff off to get it back and stuff to make room for it. And spring of 24, we picked it up at Brad's place in North Carolina. We brought it back to St. Louis, and so yeah, we've actually 2 weeks now and stuff. We will have officially hit our 2-year mark of having it back in our hands.
That's amazing. It's like going all around the country. I mean, man, you're running circles around me, man. I mean, people like you are who I love to have on the show, man. It's like it just oozes out of you, man. The trucking knowledge, the talk about the motors and all that, man. You're spot on. I mean, that movie Convoy was pretty legendary
Yeah, it
status in
was.
the trucking community. For a lot of truckers, it represents that era of trucking where CB radios, convoys rolling out on the highway, and the Black Mac leading the way. So, man, can you talk a little bit about the truck itself, or do you know a little bit about the history when it comes to how it was used in the film? Did they kind of pass that story along to you as well?
Yeah, so like I said, the truck we have now, it's a second unit 1970 Mack R-71. It's a 70 model, but it's been rebuilt with components of a the hood of the sleeper are off of a later 77 73 to 77 Western Series and stuff. Because by 73, they had changed, the height, of the hood fenders. If you look in the movie and stuff at the truck and stuff, you'll see the height of the fenders and the differences and the air cleaners and the tubes and stuff and the fuel tanks and stuff. So the truck we have now originally, first of all, it's always been I had an 855 Cummins motors, which I am a huge sucker for NPC 855 Cummins motors. Favorite engine in the world and stuff. It's only ever run and stuff. But that one at the time had a small cam 350 in the movie with a 9513 speed, 9513 four transmission, and it had a single tube on the air cleaner and stuff. And whenever we bought it, we put a tip turbine double charger pipe tuber air cleaner to make it more movie realistic and stuff. And we put a 400 big cam 3 in it. And a 9513. And funny story, when we got the truck back about a year and a half ago, we were on our way to the show in St. Louis, take it to a truck show out in a town called Warrenton. And we felt like something was off and stuff because by the time we got the engine back and stuff, we could hear some like metal things and stuff. And then that day was when it hit stuff because they come to the truck and stuff. We thought we were going to make it. And then we had metal screwing stuff in the bearing stuff, smoke coming up literally underneath the dash inside the cab. So we kill it, pull it over and stuff, and just the next to run stuff, we realized that it was it's what we called it was a Franken-timed and stuff. It was supposed to be a CPL 65 400 big cam 3, but it turns out that it was a 300 CPL 529 that somebody had jacked up and stuff. They were pistons and lines. From International Cummins Motors, parts from a 315. Big cam 4, high end low flow. It was a mess. So when we built the truck in spring of 25, because we didn't even think we were going to have it even running at all by now and stuff. But in spring of 25, we're hunting and stuff. And then finally in Omaha, Nebraska, we find a guy who's got 4 Oshkosh P19 airport fire trucks. All of them had 4 big cam 3 400 motors with literally less than 17,000 miles on them. And they're all 83, 84 and stuff. They're like recomp brand new motor and stuff. And so we buy 2 of the Foreman stuff. We put 1 inside the truck, and we bought a superintendent pump and stuff. And we literally just got the last thing treated up right before we left up for the Madison Nationals in June. The Monday night, right before we left and stuff, we took it for a 4-mile test drive, and then since then stuff we put maybe roughly about at least about 1,000 miles on the truck since, and it's not even. It's most complete and stuff. There's a few more things we got to do and stuff, but we put 1,000 miles on it since, and it's literally ran better than it's ran its entire life and stuff. That powertrain swap, I think, was actually much needed either way and stuff because the truck has been performing the best it's ever been.
That's amazing. Hey, big ups to Omaha out there, man. There's a lot of great people out there. I get to go out there sometimes myself, and man, you guys hit the jackpot with that, man. Made it right, got it tight. Hey, that's great. So yeah,
Yeah.
restoring and maintaining something can't always be a small project. It's going to be a lot of work, and you guys put that in. What kind of work goes into keeping a truck in good shape, making it still represent what it used to be or how it's still perceived in the eyes of many people? What would you say helps that process?
Well, first of all, I'd say don't because if anything, you've got to be stupid enough to blow kind of money into it and be a fool. So,
That's
um,
trucking.
I mean, you've got to be like more like if you know what I'm looking for, as long as old school, like old truck parts, or some of the hard to find stuff. Like if you're really close, like attention to detail and stuff. Like for example, like when I started with like 85 Cummins motors, I love big cams, small cams, NDC stuff, favorite motors, super reliable stuff. But like back when we had the woman we built the rubber duck truck and stuff, they were diamond dozen. Like they were going for like places all over the world. So you probably on South America wanted them, but now I mean they're just rent stuff. So I mean, if you know what's good out there and stuff, and if you know what you're looking for, it's for one of the lines of old school and stuff. You do some research, you do some hunting, reach out to multiple people and stuff, and just my advice is don't give up. Just keep on looking, and eventually you'll find that needle in the haystack.
Nice. That's great. Keep people out there working to keep those memories alive because they're much needed and we appreciate them and all the hard work that they do, just like yourself. Hey, man, you're not just also an enthusiast, you're a driver. What gives you a different perspective than someone who only collects trucks? How does you actually, working in the trucking shape the way you look at preserving older rigs and the story behind it? What keeps you going personally?
Um, to just say a fact, that just knowing that this stuff isn't easy and that there's a lot of jobs within the trucking industry and stuff. So I just go out there, I just put myself out there every day, just keep on, just made and mutual friends, truckers and stuff. And just trying to make things better for everyone and stuff for the future generations to run stuff. Because the for me and us, what really makes these things really make it fun stuff, as I said, so the fans moving stuff, and I've actually met a number of kids and stuff. Not many of them used to be and stuff, but there's a fair amount to where that that they'll grow up around like with their dads. A couple buddies of mine actually have kids that were in their elementary school and stuff that actually come to our shows and stuff to come and see the truck and stuff. So to me, just anytime a band comes up, especially a kid and stuff. As a matter of fact, when I was at a drop-in show at the Guilty Show last year and stuff, before I left that show and stuff, I had a guy whose grandson was a huge fan of the movie Convoy and stuff. Probably the biggest kid fan I've ever seen. He was like 7 or 8 years old, but his grandfather yelled at him, told him to come over, and he told me who I was, and then the kid, automatically without thinking about stuff, he just wraps his arms around me, gives me a great big hug, starts crying tears of joy, and he's like, "Thank you so much." This to me, I mean, that's the best one stuff. My favorite part is basically the younger generation stuff, the kids, and just them getting this experience and stuff, knowing that I was with them and stuff. That's what really makes it, pretty personal and stuff. And that's what that's a big part of what I'm trying to do and stuff. I'm trying to keep this alive for the generations to enjoy, even if it's not well looking as great as it now and stuff. I still believe at the end of the day that there's hope for some people out there. That's what we got to look for, man. Is we got to look for the good in it. You can't always
That's
look at the bad sides of it.
that's it. Yep, that's it. I mean, it's amazing how those trucks can take you away from your problems too. Man,
Mhm.
I mean, you start working on the truck or you start driving the truck, seems like you leave everything right behind you in the rear view. So that's good, man. Thank you for doing that and putting it out there, trying to help other young ones like and your peers and even older ones like myself.
So,
So yeah, man, thank you for coming on the show. I mean, you really eye opener to what it's like to be a driver and a restorer, collector, and an enthusiast for the trucking industry. I really appreciate that, man. I mean, imagine when people see that truck, when they see it for the first time, or when they also learn about it, and the more that they see that there's a story behind this, pretty soon you get a good reaction from people. I mean, you make people smile out there. That's a great gift you can give them, especially when drivers grew up watching the movie. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there. What has the response been like that you've seen from people out there?
mainly there's been a pretty good amount of stuff as we've had. And probably some of my most favorite bands one stuff are people like from like Australia, Germany, Switzerland, stuff. I mean, that's another one of my group of favorite fans. It's the foreign fan stuff. I mean, some of the nicest people I've met who are Congo fans do not hear from these and stuff. And one day I hope to go to many of their countries and stuff. But I've met a lot of great people from all over and stuff, and just knowing that their history and stuff, just knowing that this film impacted many viewers worldwide and stuff. I mean, it really makes it worthwhile at the end of the day, knowing that we, and we dumped all this countless money and hours into it and stuff just so that people could relive, their childhood and stuff. I mean, it really makes it personal. I mean, because not just for guys like me and my dad and stuff, but for people all over the world and stuff. And if they can say, hey, I grew up watching this in movie theaters or the drive-ins, or my dad took me to watch this truck, or just whatever the case is, it really makes it worthwhile at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's the deep roots of America right there, man. It's huge, and hopefully we can get some momentum back for Hollywood to do some more movies like that, man. We can love to see some new stuff, and maybe not just with all the CGI stuff, but more so with the real, organic stuff. I think people are really trying to go back to the way things used to be because of having something tangible on your hand versus all the digital stuff. I mean, that stuff is getting to be so massive that the stuff
Right.
that's more organic is getting to be more real, more something that people want. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
on with that.
it's really good we're doing that stuff. But yeah, yeah, I mean, we're glad to have it back and stuff. When we didn't have the truck and stuff, we actually do okay and stuff. Just sometimes you get too busy life and just even we need to kind of like, just to break in between stuff, just to kind of just I mean, that's I mean, but at the end of the day and stuff, separate the hobby and stuff. I mean, we always try to take care of, of our families and whatnot first and stuff. But the fact that our family and all this stuff supports us and that stuff, I mean, it really means the world. As a fact, one of my aunts and stuff, she is a big supporter in our hobby and stuff, and it really means it really means the world and stuff. Knowing that you have a lot of friends and some relatives on your side who support you and stuff. My step grandfather who did CDL truck and stuff. I'm on the phone with him once a week and stuff, and he and I always do stuff together and stuff. We're talking stuff, just sharing those talks and just making memories and this kind of stuff. It's what really it's what really makes it love to see another day into the future.
Man, I love hearing that. Great community, supporting each other, lifting each other up. That's what we need. That's what we need more of. We're not gonna let that go so easily. We're gonna try to hold on to that. I think everybody needs a little bit of that in their life, or if not, I need a lot of it in their life. So, thank you so much, Patrick. I mean, looking ahead, what do you guys see? What do you got planned coming up? Any truck shows or anything like that to look forward to in the future, or uh, maybe the younger people out there can get involved, and also maybe they can see these trucks for themselves firsthand.
Yeah. So my first before I get into stuff, I know that you had mentioned one thing I did want to mention that was our work with American Truck on the TV show. So we were actually Rob's technical control and stuff, and which I'll bring that up for the show and stuff. So we helped him write a bunch of shows and stuff. The guy with the BJ and the bear truck, I know him and stuff. Wayne Alderson, who did Smoking the Band episode and stuff, but he's got a truck now and stuff, and he plans, I think, returning with our show in Festival here in May. But I mean, what really, I'll put it this way and stuff. If we hadn't sold the rubber duck and the dual truck, I completely sold the Tom, I would never forget myself. Because selling the truck to Brad and then selling the truck to Anthony and stuff, and then Rob getting connected with them and stuff, and we bring all the people together and stuff. To me, selling the trucks and having them not forbidden stuff, that was really a lot more good that came out and stuff. Because then you meet so many people that you don't think you're gonna meet, and then they share the same crazy interests as you and stuff, and you make a lot of new friends along the way. Just, I mean, that's the one for me in truck shows and selling some of these things and letting them somebody else get to have to explain that stuff and just meeting the people and just bringing us all together and stuff, old and new faces and stuff. I mean, that's what really makes this hobby worth it at the end of the day to me personally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
E-
absolutely, man. Hmm.
Everything happens for a reason. That's all I can say.
There you go. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, we got Patrick Bruno here on the show for anyone here that's listening. A lot of deep roots in the industry, a lot of great things he's been able to do. Also, with, like I said, American Trucker. What's it been like working with them, trying to make some dreams come true on that side? What has it been like?
It was pretty good work and stuff. It was a great side gig to help, make some good money and stuff. And we met a lot of people, like I said. Anthony Fox, Brad Black, and Brad and Anthony are huge combo fans like we are and stuff. They're great people. Buddy mine has got the beach and the bear truck. Wayne Anderson. They're all great people and stuff. And like I said, it's pretty much there and stuff. Which will actually bring me to the next topic. So as I said, I'm sitting over here at the park right now, Festus, Missouri, Larry Kreitz Park and stuff. It's where we do the relax in the park this year, May 15th to the 16th of this year. Friday 9 to 4, Saturday 8 to 6, and Friday evening I host the convoy through town and stuff. For all the truckers that come. So this year we'll have we plan to have the rubber duck, Wayne's stomach truck, and the Screeners Beach and the bear truck all together here, like we did up in Madison. And then we'll be going to Springfield, Missouri this year for the 18th Session Nationals. We'll have all the trucks there and stuff. So that's kind of what we're all hoping for this year and stuff, just to keep the memories of how we boulevard rolling along, getting all of us together and stuff, because you're only given one lap of them. So, and we'll get some whizzing off, like I said, and stuff. So I'm trying to get us all to just slow down a little bit, just take some time, relive your past and just chill out, just hang on, just have a good time. To me, that's what truck shows are about and stuff. And I think that a lot of us need to reflect that sometimes that that instead of worrying about whether you're not gonna make them on stuff. Sometimes you just need to just take it in and just be grateful with what you already have and find ways just to make that useful in the meantime instead of stressing over what you can't control for the next days to come.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot of stuff that we can't control. We can put our input in there, but it's not going to change a lot of things. So staying positive, thinking about, like you said, staying in the present, and that's the gift that we always can enjoy. I mean, it's a huge gift to be able to have individuals in the community like yourself. And what's one way that people can connect with you? I know community is important. What's a good way for people to reach out and be a part of that community, like you have for yourself there?
So my profile name, Facebook, Patrick Thomas. I get messages and requests from fans all the time. You can go on there. My Facebook page for the event. It's Justin R7 Convoy. I've got my phone number, my email on there. People want to look into that. I've got my Instagram, MiniDeck261, TikTok, MiniDeck261. I'm just going to put stuff. I'm just trying to bring hope and trying to recreate the memory and stuff. And I'm hoping that in Festus and Springfield and one show in Rancho in July and many other shows and stuff, I'm hoping that people will come out, go, uh, sit back, take it all in, have a nice, few weekends and just have a good time. So,
I love it. I love it, man. Hey, thanks for sharing your story. As always, people hearing about individuals in the trucking industry is huge. And if we could find a way to keep connecting with each other and pursue that history and keep it, preserved, and also keep it where people will actually understand what this whole dream is about, keeping that going. So, man, you're doing that, and I appreciate it. So,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
thank you. Yeah,
Well,
and your family. So, and big ups to everybody over there, man. That's awesome.
uh, it's
So,
taking
yeah,
time, and
yeah.
I hope to stay in touch. And who knows? Maybe hopefully one day, maybe I'm hoping that you'll get the chance to see the truck one day, and maybe even join us at a show someday. I would be awesome.
It would be. That would be a dream come true, man. I appreciate it. And so, for everyone out there listening, if you enjoyed this episode, learning a little more about Patrick Bruno and all the passion that he has and for the industry, be sure to follow the podcast, share it with someone you know in the trucking community or beyond. And, until next time, we'll be out here making shows and episodes like this. I'm Trucking Ray, and that's all for this episode. That's delivered.